Well, hello and welcome to another Tips Tuesday session. I am so excited to be here with you, sharing tips and tricks to help you market your business. And today we're going to talk about the art of storytelling and what it means for you and your business. Now, storytelling is a buzzword that you might have heard. Well, it's not really a buzzword. It's actually something we've used in marketing for many, many years, but it does seem to be the trend word right now in the world of marketing. So, what is storytelling and how is it going to relate? Is going to be all about today's topic. Today's Tips Tuesday topic that we're delving into. Now, storytelling has become crucial in most businesses' operation in marketing. And the reason that is stories, like back in ancient traditions, goes through and it creates a human-to-human connection. And more than ever, especially after lockdowns, brands, people in the know, like, and trust factor are looking for that human-to-human connection. And that is what storytelling can do for you and your business. Now, I get that it might be overwhelming if you're first entering into the world of marketing and storytelling. There's so much jargon and there's so many different things that you hear about. And should I be doing that? Do I even know if I should be doing that? Because that's a really good one as well. But stories have been part of human connection. We tell stories. We've been telling stories to our children. We've been telling stories to our friends over many, many years. And it's human connection. We talk about human marketing nowadays. It's that human connection that is key. Now, when we talk about human connection, we're talking about engaging people, getting them to buy into our message or our story or things along the way. And you most probably are actually using stories within your marketing area. Now, there is a number of brand stories that we can use, or stories that we can use in our business when we're going through storytelling. But what we want to make sure is that we have got a compelling story. We've got something that's going to interest our people. Now, that could be education, it could be customer success, it could be behind the scenes, it could be anything like that. We also then want to make sure that it has a purpose, okay? So the purpose is either to educate, to entertain, or to engage our people into the next call to action. So that's another really key thing about storytelling. And we also want to make sure that when we are using storytelling, that it is relevant to our people. So we want to make sure that it's connecting with them in a way that maybe our competitors can't, because we have that point of relevance. And your story is always unique. No matter what your business is, how you came about, what you're doing is all unique. Even if you're part of a franchise, it's all a unique journey, a unique story that's led you to this place and this point in time. So for those of you who are watching, I'd love to hear in the comments if you are using storytelling. And I just want to bring up my notes, but I also want to be able to move my hands at the same time. Yeah, are you using storytelling within your business? Now, there are different storytelling types that we're going to delve into. And the first one we're going to delve into today is customer success stories, okay? Because this is where your client is looking, or your potential customer is actually wanting to be, where your customer is from the past and succeeded. Now, these stories are about customers who had a positive experience. Now, in marketing, it can be as simple as a review. So asking someone to put a review or a testimonial on your page is storytelling. Yay! You've done it. You've worked it out already. You're already going through that storytelling component. Or we might be an interview, or it might be a podcast that you do with a person, or it might be a before and after story. So, for example, a dental clinic might showcase the before and after photos of a patient's progress. A software company might do a case study or a blog write-up or a video tour about how their software has changed the business operations and lives. And if you could think about the MyOb ads, they were doing little things about MyOb and how to help businesses out there. That's one of those customer success story areas that you might get out there. Hair care brands. Now, I see very good ones like Bondi Boost and Georgie Main doing these hair care before and after photos, customer success stories, and their customers are doing it for them. They're inside their Facebook groups and communities doing it for them to be able to share those hair care brands before and after moments. And a home renovation company might do a time lapse, for example, of when they walked into the building to all the work that they did over a period of time, and put that together, or create an album as well along the way. So customer success stories are great to use within your business. Now, they can be reviews, they can be testimonials, they can be interviews, they can be before and afters. It can be the customer using your product, any change that they make, but a customer success story is great. So for a second, I want you to take a second and just think about, because Tips Tuesday is nothing if we don't implement. Think about some customer success stories that you can use within your business. Okay. give you a few more seconds to think about that one. Okay, the next one is origin stories. Now, origin stories focus on how the brand was founded, its early life. You can sort of tell a little bit of funny stories about your origin. I like to tell things about what I've learned along my way in business, and they work really well. Now, these highlight your brand's values, the mission, the why you're going to be able to do it, and it quite often showcases where you've come over time. So you might even go and use something like the Wayback Machine to go and show your website a long time ago when you first started, and the growth that you've come from developing the business and all of those sorts of things. And for those of you who don't know what the Wayback Machine is, it is, just type it into Google and it's a Wayback Machine. You can see what your website used to look like years ago, or any website actually looked like years ago. So, for example, if we're looking at origin stories, a craft brewing company might share how they started homebrewing as a hobby. And then all of a sudden, or any hobby business might talk about their homebrewing as a hobby. And then how that passion that they had for homebrewing, crafting, whatever the creative business was, turned into a successful business. Now, businesses who have passion behind them and passion behind the origin story, that creates a real human-to-human connection straight away. And people love that. They're buying in for that. But they're also buying in that, well, okay, well, this guy started out small, maybe in his garage or whatever it was, and I now want to go and buy his beer because it tastes good and I'm supporting someone small who's now grown and succeeded. A family-owned restaurant might share the history of how it's been passed down through the generations. There's a really good carpeting company actually here in Bendigo that does this. They're a carpeting company and they've been throughout the generations, and their radio ad has each one of the generations talking through. So it doesn't have to be a family-owned restaurant, it can be a family-owned business, about how it's been passed down and the traditions and the cultures that have come through that origin story within the business as well. And a wellness brand, especially if it's a personal journey that's led to this wellness brand, might share the personal journey and the personal story of that wellness brand throughout the process. And that's a really key, really good way of being able to connect with people as well. And tech startups might, share their stories about how they met. What was it that, caused the frustration for them to be able to create that technology and those sorts of things. And if you think about it, business's story, origin story comes around from the point of view of, I was frustrated with small business owners not having a place that was positive, that was encouraging to help them network and support. And then overnight, we all of a sudden went from me originally thinking that me and my 50 business owners were going to hang out together to 500 members. So that was like a really interesting origin story. And that's me just relating an origin story back to where we go from here. I am speeding through this because we've got a storm coming through here in Victoria and I don't want to have completely bad internet all the way through. So think about your origin story. Think about what you can connect with your people with. What can you tell about your business, about the history, about how you've grown and where you've come from there. And the next one we move into, and it quite often can be confused with origin stories, and they sort of lap over a little bit, is brand stories. And brand stories focus on the brand's identity. They focus on what the brand stands for, and they include elements of that origin story, but they also highlight their personality and the unique selling proposition of you as a brand. And, I like to think of you, when you're creating your brand stories, think about your brand as a character. When we ran Media Connections, we used to have a little character called Media Meg, and she used to be in the newsletters, the books that we had coming out, and she was everything the brand represented. She was positive, she was exciting, she was hardworking, and she was like an oracle to come up with media ideas. And it was a really good little brand proposition, a brand story that we could be able to tell, but we'd also be able to bring it into our marketing. So some examples of brand stories that we can use: if a luxury fashion brand might emphasize its commitment to sustainability and take people behind the brand story about why they use vegan leather or why they use what sort of production facilities and the eco-friendly materials. And I know that Clive has a client who's Green Hick Workwear for Women. And if you haven't checked out Live Stuff, check her out because she's really amazing. They have a brand story or an origin story where they actually they plant a tree for every garment sold. I'm pretty sure it's every garment sold. Don't hold me to it. But they plant trees and they go and do that on a regular basis. And it's a great brand story. And it's picked her up some PR opportunities along the way, which has been really, really huge and valuable for her as a business. A car manufacturer might highlight their innovative design features. So they might go through the design features. Why did they do that? It could have been, for whatever reason that they've had someone involved in a car accident or they've seen new technology. What have they put into it? And they might talk about enjoyable driving and about how it's increasing safety and really share the brand values of that brand throughout that journey. And you can think about it. Volvo is known for it. We're talking about safe driving. We're talking about taking the family out safely. They do that very, very well. A music streaming service might emphasize its user-friendly user interface, but it also might emphasize how much it's paying the artists and how the artists are supported along the way. So your brand story in itself is about the mission, the value, the ethics, the why behind your brand. And they're good ones to be able to include within your marketing. Now, the next one that we talk about is educational stories. Now, educational stories are what I refer to as educational marketing. So you might be doing something similar to what I'm doing here, which is, running a session which educates your market around some terminology or some tools or how to use your product and sharing it that way. You might use educational stories within your blog posts. They form small tips, so little tip and social media graphics along the way. Educational marketing and educational stories is great. Now, you might do different little things, how to use your products or what people should know before engaging with you. Some examples of educational stories, just to get you thinking a little bit about this, is cooking blogs might share a how-to guide on making a gourmet meal on a budget. Or they might share a how-to guide on making a gourmet meal not on a budget, but they include the step-by-step instructions. They become the trusted source because they've actually stepped people through the process. And that's what makes that really, really good for everyone. A financial institution might share a series of educational videos on how to save for retirement or how to, better invest your money or how to beat the interest rates if you need to. Health and wellness companies, they do this very well, share articles, tips, and blogs along the way that will help people, incorporate health and wellness, exercise, meditation, good food practices in along the way. And an educational toy company, just another example, might do a blog post on play-based learning and educating about why play-based learning is important, and then link through to their products and services that way along the way. So educational marketing is really huge. And if you're a product-based business, how to use your product, unusual ways to use your product, customer uses of your products, combine educational and customer success stories all in one. And it's great for your storytelling opportunities along the way. Humorous stories create a connection. We all like to laugh. We all like to have a little bit of humor. And if it suits your brand, humorous stories are a great way to be able to connect with your audience. They could be, showing behind the scenes, bloopers, muck-ups, all of those sorts of things, but there are also cute ways of including humorous stories. For example, pet grooming businesses might create a social media campaign featuring cute little pets doing funny things in the grooming, or before and after photos of their cats and their dogs just looking cute and adorable, because it creates humor, it creates emotion, and emotion creates connection in marketing. So we love emotion when it comes to marketing. A fast food chain, for example, might have a look at doing a viral video parodying the latest pop culture trends and having their brand placed inside it. Personal finance blog might do a series of, if you don't invest, this is what happens. But if you do invest, this is what happens. Those funny, if you do it, yay. If you don't, there's not some stuff in it that lots of ways from there. And an online retailer might do a funny video series showcasing their employees attempting to use their own products in amusing and mishaps, and maybe common mishaps that people might have using their products, but do it in a way that's a little bit funny along the way. And that creates humor, which creates connection and emotion, as we said, which is great. And then we finish off the series with the emotional stories, okay? And emotional stories pull on the heartstrings. They're really good for press release opportunities as well, because they've got that human interest angle in there. The aim is to evoke emotional response from the audience when we're using emotional stories. So we want to make sure that we're looking at testimonials, maybe positive impact, and they work because, as I said, emotion creates connection in marketing, and we definitely want to do that. So emotional stories that you might see pop up in marketing, you might consider using, is a charity organization might share a touching video highlighting the impact of their service on someone in need, or a service or an organization might show the change and the difference within someone's life, especially if they were a medical product or a an aid type situation that really helps the business out there. Healthcare brands might share a testimonial about how a client felt before and how they felt afterwards. Sports equipment companies might, sponsoring athletes, they might use that as part of their emotional wellness. Their emotional stories. And I've seen a local brand here do this recently. A little boy lost his fishing rod, and they did an amazing job of being able to share it. Now, they didn't actually think about this emotional story going out to marketing. The mum took it to the media. The mum took it to the radio stations and said how amazing they were. And a travel company might show a life-changing or a travel story, or put us in the spot of where we want to go and travel in their video and in their marketing. So when we're telling stories about what our client can experience when they're coming through us from marketing, whether that's product based, whether it's experience based, but we're allowing them to experience what it might be like using this service, or what it might be like getting coached by us, or what it might be like going through that journey. Now, have included a few tips for you today around storytelling. It's a big topic. It's a massive one. And if you are looking at including storytelling within your business, then we've got the Evergreen Stories ideas for you, Evergreen Story Ideas course for you inside the Reed-Enever Group Training Academy, which you go to reed-enevergroup.thinkific.com, you'll be able to find it. How to write a media release is another good one about bringing you through those stories. There are many, many courses inside the Marketing Circle membership as well, and Marketing Circle members, we talk about storytelling, and we're most probably actually going to do a little bit more planning on storytelling later on this year as well. So if you're not already a Marketing Circle member, you can have a look at it from there. But when creating brand stories for your business, one, we've got to make sure that they're aligned with our brand and our message, and the message is clear. They are relevant to our audience. They create a experience and a connection for our audience, and we've considered and they resonate with our target audience when we're putting those things together. We want to consider the format for the distribution channels. So is it a good short form piece? Do we need to create a blog post about it? Can we create a video, slightly longer video that's going to allow us to be able to connect and educate along the way? But by creating powerful and engaging stories for our brand, we create a connection that develops trust. It develops a path. It develops a journey of knowing. And that is what great storytelling is within marketing. So that's it. We're wrapping up for this Tips Tuesday session. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you want to catch up with me further, head to lindareed-enever.com.au. Let me know in the comments which one of these storytelling activities you are going to roll out within your business. And until next time, I'll see you around the socials and possibly inside one of my memberships. Bye.